Hey everyone. So I was asked to help someone out to tell them how to do my beard to get it all sort of nice looking, and I thought rather than doing that, let's do a video tutorial. So I might as well because I have access to a studio. So I'm in Dark Spaces at the moment, which is run by Kaushik Kumar. So if you want a place where you can do your own kind of tutorials and all sorts of stuff, get in touch with Kaushik. I'll put some contacts in the link. Okay, so the reason that I started getting into this is over years and years and years I've been growing my beard, and I'm glad I did because it changed my life, obviously, as beards do. But I remember the first time with my beard, I didn't know what to do with it, and it just became this big kind of mess that looked really bad. And I can't remember, I think I may have just shaved it like a bit. And a lot of people are doing that, so it's kind of like, what do I do with my beard when it gets to a length where I need to actually look after it myself? So one of the first things that you've got to do is when it gets to a certain stage, you're going to have to go and see a barber and get them to set your shape. So the shape that comes in through this line and the shape that comes in for your actual beard shape that suits your face. And a barber will know that, a good barber will know that. So my barber is Paddy, and he's from the Dog Box here in Christchurch. So check him out. I'll tag him here as well. So one of the things that I joke about with Paddy is the fact that this line on my face, so I literally just had this done yesterday, as you would have just seen in the video. But one of the things I used to struggle with was when I'm shaving, I would always bring this line further and further and further down. And there's a picture here where you can see how bad it actually got. So I went to one of those as seen on TV places, and Paddy gave me shit about it. But this thing has saved my beard. It basically sits on your ear, and you can dictate the shape so that you don't shave too low. And this has been saving me from dropping that down too low for a long time. It's like a couple of bucks as seen on TV. Best money I've ever spent. So when I started off, my beard was a lot shorter, so I had a smaller brush, and that was for curling underneath. Obviously now this thing kind of gets lost in my beard. But it's too small. But if you're just starting off and your beard's quite short, this is what you're going to want to use, and I'll show you why shortly. I'm using this now, so what I'm looking for is curling my beard so that it takes it and it makes it go from that to that. I want it to go under. So that's what this does. This brush has lots of finer bristles on it, and that's to straighten it with heat. So everything happens with heat. I use Dark Heart, and I use it for a couple of reasons. One, it's really good. I don't like beard oils so much. They're really good when you're just starting out and you want to get rid of that itchiness. The itchiness is because your hair is getting to a length where it's starting to curl and it starts scratching your face. And that's why you're like, ugh. And people say, do you ever get rid of the itchiness? And it's like, I haven't had itchiness since I first got through the first month of growing a beard. I've never had itchiness since then. So I like Dark Heart because it holds a little bit, and because it's made with coffee beans, and it's coffee beans and leather, so it's kind of like, oh, it smells so good. So we'll put some of that on later on. Anyway, for hold, what we're going to do first off is my beard is as if I had just come out of the shower, so it's a little bit damp still, and I want a little bit of moisture still in there, because what's going to help us straighten it and get it the shape we want it is moisture and heat. So I've got a hairdryer, and for the purpose of this, I'm going to keep it on a low volume just so you can hear what I'm saying as I'm doing what I'm doing. High heat, low volume, so it's going to look and sound a bit like this. So first off, I'm just going to get the hair to go in the direction I want it to, and I'm using this just to do that, just to push it where I want to go. So this is what it looks like. So just gently pulling it down, and if I had crinkles like I used to have, so I used to get these crinkles all through here where it went wavy, this is what would gradually pull them out. Over time, they will go away. So I'm just pulling down and around. There we go. Moustache, hold up. And now I'm just getting my shape. That's it. Dun, 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 dun. Now this is the bit where people don't really get what they need to do next, which is taking the brush and coming up underneath and actually curling while you've got heat on. That will make it go under, which is what we want. Up, under, whilst curling And honestly, this is actually a hairdresser skill that you kind of need, but that starts to, you can see it pulling it under and tidying it up. So I just do that the whole way around. And in the front especially, you can really see how it works in the front. And obviously I'm doing this back to front for me, which is a bit weird because I've got a screen monitor over there as well. So this is what it's looking like, and then right up the back and curling. So fortunately for me, I already did this morning, so I've just put water in it to loosen it up a little bit, right? So at this stage, so it's easier than it might be usually. So at this stage, I would take some of this. It's relatively dry now. I would grab some. I like it a lot, so I use a lot. And it's so good. Oh, it smells so good. And that's what I'm going to run through. I definitely want it in my moustache because sometimes some of the hairs from my moustache, if they're allowed to, they go up near my nose and it's itchy as shit. So I'm just putting that through. That smells great. Rubbing it in. Ding, ding, ding. Right. Now, what I want to do is just use the heat again, and this time I just want to make it, this is the ultra tidy part. So, and this is kind of for work, right? You want to have this big, awesome beard, but you need to, for work or for events, you want to still look really sharp. So this is the part that does that. Low, high heat, low volume again. And all I'm doing is pulling it through, and because there's such small bristles and there's lots of them, it's just grabbing the hair, separating it and pulling it straight gradually. It also helps to push the beeswax and stuff that's in here through, if there is beeswax in there, and the oils through as well. So you can see that that is getting pretty tidy. So 2 brushes that I use, the right size for what I'm doing. If you're just starting off, use a smaller one. This, for getting the shape around the edges, that's really important. Otherwise, it will drop down. Dark Heart, and that is the coffee and leather beard balm, my preference, because it smells like coffee, and because I smoke cigarettes, coffee and leather, can't beat that. A little bit of maintenance stuff, so I don't see Paddy all the time. I probably see him once a month, or depending on what events and stuff I've got coming up, it might be a couple of months in between. When we had lockdown, I didn't see him for a long time. So this piece is the bit that I do like to maintain myself in between seeing Paddy. And for that, I just use a small clipper, and all I'm doing is going around and just touching where I want to trim it to. And I also trim down in here, and that's because I like to have this area clean, because when I eat, I don't like hair in my food. I used to actually work as a dreadlock specialist, believe it or not, at Ginger Meg's with Mike Hamill, and one of the things I hated was hair, other people's hair anywhere, in your hands and in your feet and all sorts. So anyway, there you go, that's your tutorial for how to get your beard looking tidy and sharp. If you have any questions, let me know. If there's anything you want to add it in for sure. Like I said, I'm here in Christchurch at the Dark Spaces studio for video recording, which you can use as well for anything you want to do. Thanks everyone, and I'll give you a final look at what it looks like when it looks super tidy. And we're back. So what you're going to find is that the heat is going to help move the oil around within the beard balm, and as it starts to cool down, it's going to enable you to get a bit more shape back as well, because the waxes and stuff in there are going to start to congeal. So at that point, you can really start to bring more shape into it if you want. The other part being too is that throughout the day, I mean, that's my profile. Throughout the day, it might get a little bit out of control again, and you just might want to bring it back in by tidying it up. So have a brush around. One of the things that does happen, and I've seen this a bit, is sometimes people get a little bit overactive when they're combing into the front. So I purposely have that shape made by Paddy, but if I was to, I could pull it under too far, and you can see that it would start coming in and looking a bit weird, and the shape goes for me. So when I'm done, I just make sure that I'm not pulling down too hard when I'm actually using the heat, because that'll stuff up my shape. So I'm kind of brushing, but making sure it's coming forward, not going under. So if you can shape your beard how you want it to go. So that's us. I hope you enjoyed it. See you next time. Any comments, chuck them in there. See you later.